start with curiosity. Curiosity is the foundation of every great idea. It is the driving force behind innovation, discovery, and progress. Yet in a world that often prioritizes answers over questions, curiosity is undervalued. We are taught to seek certainty, to find the right answer, and to avoid the discomfort of the unknown. But the truth is, the most groundbreaking ideas do not come from having all the answers. They come from asking better questions. The people who change the world are not the ones who accept things as they are, but the ones who wonder how things could be different. At its core, curiosity is about seeing the world with fresh eyes. It is about looking at everyday situations and asking, why is it this way? And could it be better? Too often we operate on autopilot, following routines and systems without questioning their effectiveness. The best innovators, however, challenge the status quo. They refuse to accept that just because something has always been done a certain way, it is the best way. They understand that progress is born from a willingness to explore the unknown, to challenge assumptions, and to reimagine what is possible. Curiosity thrives in environments that encourage exploration and open-mindedness. Yet many workplaces and institutions unintentionally stifle it. When people fear being wrong, they stop asking questions. When failure is punished instead of seen as a learning opportunity, curiosity fades. The greatest leaders and thinkers cultivate spaces where curiosity is not only welcomed, but celebrated. They understand that a curious mind is an engaged mind, one that is constantly seeking to understand, improve, and innovate. When people feel safe to question and explore, they unlock new levels of creativity and insight. One of the most powerful aspects of curiosity is its ability to drive continuous learning. The most successful people in any field never stop learning because they never stop asking questions. They read, they listen, they observe. They approach life with the mindset that there is always something new to discover. This hunger for knowledge is what keeps them ahead. They do not limit themselves to their industry or expertise. They draw inspiration from history, science, art, and even the everyday experiences of those around them. The best ideas often come from unexpected connections between seemingly unrelated fields. Curiosity also fuels resilience. When people approach challenges with a sense of curiosity rather than fear, they see obstacles not as roadblocks, but as puzzles to be solved. Instead of giving up when they encounter difficulty, they ask, what can I learn from this? This shift in perspective makes all the difference. It transforms failures into stepping stones, making setbacks feel less like defeats and more like opportunities for growth. The most innovative individuals and organizations are not the ones who never fail, but the ones who remain curious enough to keep exploring new solutions despite failure. Another key aspect of curiosity is its ability to foster meaningful relationships and collaboration. When we are genuinely curious about others, we listen more deeply, we ask better questions, and we seek to understand perspectives different from our own. This kind of curiosity builds trust and leads to richer conversations. It allows teams to break free from rigid thinking and generate truly innovative ideas. The best breakthroughs often emerge not from a single individual, but from the collective curiosity of a diverse group, each bringing their unique insights to the table. However, curiosity requires discipline. It is easy to let the demands of daily life suppress our natural desire to explore. Deadlines, responsibilities, and routines can all make curiosity feel like a luxury rather than a necessity. But the truth is, the most successful people and organizations make curiosity a priority. They schedule time for reflection, seek out new perspectives, and remain open to the unknown. They understand that curiosity is not just about inspiration, it is about action. It is about making the choice every day to remain engaged, to keep questioning, and to never settle for easy answers. Most importantly, Curiosity is contagious. When leaders, teachers, and creators embody curiosity, they inspire others to do the same. A curious mindset spreads through teams, families, and entire organizations, creating cultures of innovation and continuous improvement. The best ideas come from those who refuse to stop wondering, who embrace the excitement of discovery, and who remain committed to the pursuit of knowledge, no matter where it leads. Create space to think. In a world that glorifies busyness, we have lost the ability to simply think. We pack our schedules with meetings, emails, and tasks, believing that constant productivity leads to success. But the truth is, some of the best ideas are never born, not because we lack creativity, but because we lack the space for creativity to emerge. Thinking is not something that happens automatically amidst the chaos of daily life. It is something that requires intention. If we want to generate our best ideas, we must learn to create space to think. The problem is, most of us operate in a reactive state. Our days are filled with responding to emails, messages, deadlines, and obligations. We rarely pause to reflect or engage in deep thought because there is always something demanding our attention. But true innovation does not happen in the midst of distractions. It happens in moments of stillness, when our minds are free to wander, connect ideas, and explore new possibilities. Some of the most revolutionary breakthroughs in history came not from intense work, but from quiet contemplation. One of the greatest misconceptions about thinking is that it happens best under pressure. We assume that if we just push ourselves harder, the right idea will emerge. But creativity does not work that way. The brain needs room to breathe, to process, and to make unexpected connections. Some of the best ideas come when we least expect them, while taking a walk, showering, or simply staring out the window. These moments of mental relaxation allow our subconscious to do its best work, synthesizing information in ways we cannot force through sheer effort. To create space to think, we must be deliberate about eliminating noise. This means setting boundaries, turning off notifications, stepping away from devices, and carving out time for uninterrupted thought. It may feel unproductive at first, especially in a culture that equates being busy with being valuable. But the most successful thinkers understand that time spent in reflection is not wasted time. It is an investment in clarity, creativity, and problems. By stepping away from the constant flow of information, we give ourselves permission to engage in deeper, more meaningful thought. Another crucial aspect of creating space to think is learning to embrace boredom. We have conditioned ourselves to fill every spare moment with activity. Scrolling, checking messages, consuming content. But boredom is not the enemy of productivity. It is the birthplace of creativity. When we allow ourselves to sit with our thoughts rather than constantly distracting ourselves, we unlock new levels of insight. The discomfort of stillness is where some of our most profound ideas take shape. It is in these quiet moments that our minds begin to wander in ways that lead to breakthroughs. Nature has long been a source of inspiration for great thinkers. Many of history's most creative minds, including Albert Einstein, Nikola Tesla, and Charles Darwin, were known for taking long walks as part of their thinking process. There is something about being in open space, away from the noise of daily life, that allows ideas to flow freely. The movement, the change of scenery, and the absence of artificial distractions create an environment where deep thought can thrive. Whether it is a walk in the park or simply sitting outside, time spent in nature often leads to the kind of mental clarity that is difficult to achieve in a crowded office or a noisy home. Creating space to think also means giving ourselves permission to slow down. We live in a fast-paced world where speed is often mistaken for progress, but the best ideas are rarely rushed. They require time to develop, evolve, and take shape. Some of the greatest thinkers in history were not the ones who worked the hardest, but the ones who took the time to let their ideas mature. They understood that brilliance does not come from constant movement. It comes from the ability to step back, reflect, and approach problems with fresh eyes. Perhaps the greatest challenge in creating space to think is overcoming the guilt that comes with it. We have been conditioned to believe that doing nothing is a sign of laziness, but in reality, it is a sign of discipline. It takes discipline to step away, to resist the urge to fill every moment with activity, and to trust that the best ideas will come not from constant work, but from intentional stillness. The ability to think deeply is one of the most valuable skills we can develop, and it starts with making space for it to happen. Embrace failure as fuel. Failure is one of the most feared experiences in life. From an early age, we are conditioned to avoid mistakes, to get things right the first time, and to view failure as a sign of weakness. But the most successful people in history have a different perspective. They do not see failure as an obstacle. They see it as fuel. Every setback, every mistake, and every disappointment carries within it the potential for growth, innovation, and breakthrough ideas. If we want to generate our best ideas and achieve our greatest successes, we must learn to embrace failure as part of the process. The most powerful lessons often come from failure. When something doesn't work, it forces us to examine our approach, rethink our assumptions, and explore alternative possibilities. Failure is feedback. It tells us what doesn't work so we can move closer to what does. Thomas Edison famously conducted thousands of failed experiments before inventing the light bulb. When asked about these failures, he didn't see them as wasted efforts. Instead, he saw them as necessary steps toward discovery. This mindset is what separates those who succeed from those who quit, seeing failure not as an end, but as a beginning. One of the greatest misconceptions about failure is that it means we are not good enough. The reality is that failure is not a reflection of our worth. It is a reflection of our willingness to try. Every great innovator, artist, and leader has experienced failure, often on a massive scale. The difference is that they refuse to let it define them. Instead of letting failure discourage them, they use it as fuel to push forward, to improve, and to try again. The people who make the biggest impact are not the ones who never fail, but the ones who fail and keep going. The fear of failure is one of the biggest barriers to creativity. When we are afraid of getting things wrong, we hold back, we hesitate, we stay within our comfort zones, avoiding risks and playing it safe. But the most groundbreaking ideas, the ones that change industries, challenge norms, and reshape the way we see the world, come from those who dare to take risks. If we want to innovate, we must be willing to fail. We must be willing to experiment, to test new ideas, and to step into the unknown, knowing that failure is not the enemy, but a necessary part of the journey. Failure also builds resilience. Every time we fail and get back up, we become stronger. We develop the mental toughness to handle challenges, the adaptability to pivot when things don't go as planned, and the confidence to keep moving forward despite setbacks. Resilience is not something we are born with. It is something we build through experience. And failure is one of the greatest teachers of resilience. Those who learn to embrace failure rather than fear it develop the kind of inner strength that allows them to overcome obstacles and achieve things they once thought impossible. Another important aspect of embracing failure is learning to separate it from personal identity. Too often, people internalize failure, believing that if they fail at something, it means they are a failure. But failure is an event, not a person. It is something that happens, not something that defines us. The moment we stop seeing failure as a personal shortcoming and start seeing it as a learning opportunity, We free ourselves to take bigger risks, to try new things, and to pursue bold ideas without the fear of judgment or self-doubt. The most innovative companies and leaders create cultures where failure is not punished, but encouraged. They understand that progress requires experimentation, and experimentation comes with a high rate of failure. Instead of focusing on perfection, they focus on iteration, testing, learning, and improving. This is how the best ideas are developed, not in a single perfect moment, but through a series of failures that lead to refinement and growth. Organizations that foster a culture of learning from failure are the ones that stay ahead, because they are not afraid to evolve, adapt, and take risks. Ultimately, failure is not something to be avoided. It is something to be embraced. It is the fuel that drives innovation, the teacher that sharpens our skills, and the force that pushes us beyond our limits. Every great success story is filled with failures along the way, and every person who has achieved something meaningful has faced setbacks. The difference is that they did not stop when they failed. They saw failure as part of the journey, learned from it, and kept moving forward. Surround yourself with challengers. It's easy to surround ourselves with people who agree with us. It feels good. It's comfortable, but comfort does not lead to growth. If we want to generate our best ideas, make the biggest impact, and reach our highest potential, we must surround ourselves with people who challenge us. The best teams, the most successful leaders, and the greatest innovators do not seek constant validation, they seek constructive conflict. They surround themselves with individuals who push their thinking, question their assumptions, and force them to see the world from a different perspective. The most dangerous thing in any organization, team, or personal journey is an echo chamber. When we are only exposed to people who think like us, we become blind to alternative solutions. We stop questioning our own beliefs. We start assuming that our way is the best way simply because it is the way we have always done things. But progress is not built on agreement. It is built on debate. It is built on diverse ideas, conflicting viewpoints, and the ability to take criticism without letting it threaten our egos. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in history have come from environments where challenging ideas was not only allowed, but encouraged. The best leaders do not silence opposition, they invite it. They understand that true growth happens when ideas are tested, refined, and improved through debate. The best ideas are rarely the first ideas. They are the ones that survive the scrutiny of challengers. Without friction, there is no fire. Without resistance, there is no refinement. Without challenge, there is no progress. Challengers force us to grow in ways we never would on our own. They help us see our blind spots, identify weaknesses in our thinking, and strengthen our arguments. They push us beyond our comfort zones, making us sharper, wiser, and more adaptable. If we only listen to those who tell us what we want to hear, we will never reach our full potential. Growth requires discomfort, and discomfort comes from being challenged. The people who change the world are not those who avoid tough conversations, but those who embrace them. But surrounding ourselves with challengers is not always easy. It requires humility. It requires the ability to listen without immediately defending. It requires the discipline to separate criticism of an idea from personal criticism. Many people resist being challenged because it makes them feel insecure, as if being wrong means they are less capable. But the most successful people understand that being wrong is not a weakness. It is an opportunity to learn. Every time someone challenges us, we have a choice. We can shut down or we can grow. The key to benefiting from challengers is to cultivate an environment of mutual respect. Challenge should never be about tearing people down. It should be about lifting ideas up. It should be about making solutions stronger, not making people feel smaller. The best challengers are not those who criticize for the sake of being difficult, but those who push us because they believe in us. They challenge us not to prove us wrong, but to help us be better. And when we embrace that dynamic, we create relationships, teams, and organizations that thrive on continuous improvement. In business, in leadership, and in life, the most successful people are the ones who actively seek out those who think differently from them. They don't just tolerate diverse perspectives, they seek them out. They ask for feedback even when it's uncomfortable. They invite debate even when it's difficult. They recognize that surrounding themselves with challengers is not about making life harder. It's about making ideas better. The goal is not to win arguments, but to uncover the best possible solutions. There is no innovation without challenge. There is no breakthrough without resistance. If we want to generate our best ideas, we must be willing to let go of the need to be right and embrace the power of being challenged. The greatest leaders, thinkers, and creators do not fear opposition. They welcome it, because they know that when the right people challenge us, they are not holding us back. They are pushing us forward. Detach from the outcome. One of the greatest obstacles to creativity, innovation, and personal growth is our attachment to outcomes. We are taught to measure success by results, to define our worth by achievements, and to focus on reaching a specific destination. But the most successful people, the most original thinkers, and the most fulfilled individuals understand something different. Real progress comes when we detach from the outcome. It is in the process, the exploration, and the journey itself that our best ideas emerge. When we focus too much on results, we limit our ability to experiment, take risks, and discover new possibilities. Attachment to outcomes creates fear, fear of failure, fear of judgment, and fear of uncertainty. When we tie our success to a specific result, we hesitate to take bold actions because we are afraid they won't work. We avoid trying new things because we fear wasting time on something that might not pay off. This fear stifles creativity. It forces us to play it safe, to stick to what we know, and to reject ideas that feel uncertain. But the truth is, every great discovery, every groundbreaking innovation, and every transformative idea came from someone who was willing to explore without guarantees. Detaching from the outcome does not mean we stop caring. It does not mean we give up ambition, goals, or the desire to succeed. It simply means we shift our focus from external validation to internal growth. When we obsess over outcomes, we become rigid. We judge ourselves too harshly. But when we embrace the process, we give ourselves the freedom to adapt, to evolve, and to pivot when necessary. Some of the most successful people in history did not achieve their original goals, but they achieved something even greater because they were open to unexpected possibilities. The problem with fixating on a specific outcome is that it blinds us to alternative opportunities. We become so focused on a single vision of success that we fail to see other doors opening around us. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in history happened because someone was willing to let go of their original plan and follow where curiosity led them. Penicillin was discovered by accident. Post-it notes were the result of a failed adhesive experiment. The most innovative ideas often emerge when we allow ourselves to explore without rigid expectations. When we detach from the outcome, we also free ourselves from the constant pressure of perfection. Perfectionism is often disguised as a strength, but in reality, it is one of the biggest barriers to creativity. When we demand perfection from ourselves, we become paralyzed by the fear of making mistakes. We hesitate to share our ideas, to put our work out into the world, or to take risks that might lead to failure. But innovation is built on imperfection. Every masterpiece, every revolutionary idea, every breakthrough started as something messy, uncertain, and unfinished. Progress comes from iteration, not perfection. Another powerful benefit of detaching from the outcome is that it allows us to enjoy the process. Too often, we delay happiness, telling ourselves we will feel fulfilled when we reach a certain milestone, when we get the promotion, when we finish the project, when we achieve the goal. But success is not a finish line. The people who find the most joy and fulfillment in life are the ones who learn to appreciate the journey itself. They find meaning in the work, not just the reward. They understand that every step, every challenge, and every lesson along the way is just as valuable as the destination. Detachment from the outcome also makes us more resilient. When we are too attached to a specific result, any deviation from our plan feels like failure. But when we view the journey as the real achievement, we can navigate setbacks with a different mindset. We see obstacles as lessons rather than defeats. We understand that every challenge is part of the process. The most successful people in the world have faced countless failures, but they kept moving forward because they did not see failure as the opposite of success. It was simply part of the path. Letting go of outcomes is not about giving up. It is about opening up. It is about trusting the process, embracing uncertainty, and allowing creativity to flourish without the weight of rigid expectations. The best ideas, the most innovative solutions, and the most fulfilling experiences come from those who are willing to explore without guarantees. The real magic happens when we stop trying to control the result and start fully engaging in the journey itself. Connect the dots ideas do not exist in isolation. They are not created from nothing. The most groundbreaking innovations, the most creative solutions, and the most profound insights come from connecting things that others do not see as related. The ability to connect the dots, to see patterns, relationships, and intersections between seemingly unrelated concepts is one of the most valuable skills a person can develop. It is what allows us to take knowledge from one field and apply it to another, to solve problems in ways no one else has considered, and to generate ideas that change the way we see the world. One of the biggest misconceptions about creativity is that it requires starting from scratch. But in reality, creativity is about synthesis. It's about taking pieces of information, experiences, and observations and combining them in new ways. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in history came not from inventing something entirely new, but from making unexpected connections. The iPhone was not a brand new idea. It was the result of combining a phone, a music player, and an internet browser into one device. The theory of evolution was not a single discovery. It was the result of Charles Darwin connecting observations from biology, geology, and his travels around the world. To connect the dots, we must first collect the dots. This means exposing ourselves to diverse knowledge, experiences, and perspectives. The more varied our inputs, the more material we have to work with. If we only consume information from a single field or stay within the boundaries of what we already know, our ability to make connections will be limited. But when we step outside our comfort zones, reading about different subjects, engaging with people from different backgrounds, and experiencing new things, we expand our mental library of ideas. The wider our range of influences, the more creative and innovative we become. Curiosity plays a crucial role in this process. The people who are best at connecting the dots are the ones who are endlessly curious. They ask questions, explore ideas outside their field, and seek to understand how things work. They do not limit themselves to what is immediately relevant. They absorb knowledge simply for the sake of learning, trusting that at some point those pieces of information will come together in unexpected ways. Steve Jobs famously said that the calligraphy class he took in college seemed useless at the time, but years later it influenced the design of the first Macintosh computer. Creativity is often about trusting that what seems random now will eventually make sense. Another important aspect of connecting the dots is pattern recognition. The more we observe and analyze the world around us, the better we become at identifying similarities, trends, and underlying structures. This is why history often repeats itself, because human behavior follows patterns. The best innovators and problem solvers are those who can recognize these patterns early and use them to anticipate the future. They see connections where others see chaos. They notice trends before they become obvious. They understand that everything is connected, even if those connections are not immediately visible. Collaboration also plays a key role in connecting the dots. No one has all the answers, but when different perspectives come together, new ideas emerge. The most successful teams are not made up of people who all think the same way. They are made up of individuals with diverse skills, experiences, and viewpoints. When we engage in conversations with people outside our usual circles, we gain new insights and see problems from angles we never would have considered on our own. Some of the greatest innovations in history came from interdisciplinary collaboration. Scientists working with artists, engineers working with psychologists, mathematicians working with musicians. The more perspectives we integrate, the richer our ideas become. Connecting the dots also requires time for reflection. In a fast-pacing world, we often prioritize constant action over deep thinking. But the best ideas do not always come when we are actively searching for them. They come when we step back, give our minds space, and allow ideas to merge naturally. This is why some of the greatest insights happen during a walk, in the shower, or in a quiet moment. When we stop trying to force connections and instead allow our subconscious to work, we often find that the pieces fall into place effortlessly. Ultimately, the ability to connect the dots is what separates those who follow from those who lead. It is what allows individuals to see possibilities that others overlook, to create solutions that others cannot imagine, and to turn seemingly random experiences into powerful insights. The world is full of information, experiences, and ideas waiting to be connected. The more we observe, learn, and remain open to new perspectives, the more connections we will make, and the more breakthroughs we will create. Take action. Not just notes. Ideas are meaningless without execution. The world is full of brilliant concepts, half-written plans, and ambitious dreams that never see the light of day because they remain trapped in notebooks waiting for the perfect moment. But the truth is, no amount of planning, research, or note-taking will ever replace the power of action. The most successful people, the ones who bring ideas to life, who make an impact, and who change the world, understand that action is the bridge between thought and reality. They do not wait until they feel ready. They take the first step, knowing that clarity and confidence come through movement, not preparation. There is a comfort in taking notes. It feels productive. It allows us to collect information, organize thoughts, and refine ideas. But too often, note-taking becomes a way to delay action. We convince ourselves that we need more knowledge, more structure, or more certainty before we begin. We attend seminars, read books, listen to experts, and fill pages with insights, yet we hesitate to apply what we've learned. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is not intelligence, talent, or even luck. It is the ability to take action despite uncertainty, imperfection, and fear. Perfectionism is one of the biggest enemies of action. Many people believe they need to have the perfect plan before they begin. They want to anticipate every challenge, eliminate every risk, and be completely prepared before taking the first step. But real progress is messy. No plan survives first contact with reality. The only way to truly refine an idea is by testing it in the real world. Every successful entrepreneur, artist, and leader will tell you that their first version was flawed, their first attempt was clumsy, and their first iteration was far from perfect. but by taking action, they learned, adapted, and improved. Fear of failure is another major roadblock to action. Many people hesitate to start because they are afraid of getting it wrong. They worry about criticism, rejection, or making mistakes. But the greatest lessons, the most valuable insights, and the best ideas come from experience, not theory. Failure is not a sign to stop. It is a sign that you are learning. Every successful person has a long list of failures behind them. Failed businesses, rejected projects, ideas that didn't work. The difference is that they did not let failure stop them. They used it to refine their approach and move forward. Action builds momentum. The hardest part of any journey is the first step. Once we begin, once we take even the smallest action, we generate energy that propels us forward. Psychologists call this the Zeigarnik effect, the tendency for unfinished tasks to stay in our minds, urging us to complete them. When we start something, we feel compelled to continue. This is why the simple act of beginning, making that first phone call, writing that first page, taking that first risk, can create a powerful chain reaction. Action leads to more action, and before we know it, we have made more progress than we thought possible. Another crucial reason to take action is that knowledge alone does not create change. The world is filled with educated, intelligent people who remain stuck because they do not apply what they know. We do not grow by accumulating information, we grow by using it. A musician does not become great by reading about music theory, they must pick up an instrument and play. An athlete does not become stronger by studying fitness manuals, they must train, push their limits, and test their abilities. Learning without action is like reading a recipe without ever cooking the meal. The real transformation happens in the doing. Taking action also separates those who dream from those who achieve. Many people talk about what they want to do, what they plan to create, and what they hope to accomplish someday. But someday is a trap. There will never be a perfect time. The people who make an impact are the ones who stop waiting and start doing. They take small steps even when they feel uncertain. They test ideas, experiment, and iterate as they go. They do not wait for permission, they give themselves permission. Action does not require certainty, it requires courage.